Dimp Digital Presents Idle Game Chat.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital and welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is the weekly video games podcast where we give our impressions of the video games that you can play today and react to the latest news from the wonderful world of video games. We are here every Monday on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. This week I'm joined by the reigning Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz champion. It's Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
Fucking hot.
I was about to say that. This is really... And this is where I record this in the office.
I'm in my pants. I'm literally just in a little pair of speedy white O's.
I've still got a t-shirt on, but yeah, I've taken the shorts off. I've had to keep the Crocs on because the dog keeps biting my feet.
Is he still a little nipper?
Not as bad, but if you take them off, he thinks it's an invite. So
right, here we go.
I might be condemned to wearing Crocs around the house for the rest of my life, which is not ideal. But yeah, it is roasting hot in this room. I don't know why this room gets more or hotter than the other ones. It was a converted garage, so maybe
that's what mine. I think mine is because I only had it done last year, and now I've got my PC on. My TV, which seems to fucking kick out heat.
Yeah.
And then what we'll be explaining later, my fucking PS4 that's like a fucking absolute... That's just like it's like one of them fucking furnaces.
Yeah.
That just chucks out our air, and it all just fucking whirlwinds and stays in this well-insulated room and just like a cook box.
Yeah. I think the thing that annoys me about the PS4 Pro is that it makes a lot of noise, like a fan almost. Like it sounds like a fan's on. But it don't. If they doubled it up and said, look, we can't do anything about the noise, but we are going to kick out some nice cool air as you're playing.
Yeah.
I'll take the trade-off, but it's not. It's blowing out more heat, and we're sitting here fucking melting. And obviously in a country where we don't really get too much heat, like maybe a quarter of the year, I'd say, aircon is not really a residential installation method, is it? It's not really worth it. People go, it ain't worth it for the 4 days it's hot that year, and you go, well, is it? Because today it feels like it would have been bloody worth it.
Yeah. I've got one of my customers is a aircon engineer, and I always think, how much work are you getting over here? I think he does most of his work in like shops and that.
Yeah, a lot of commercials.
But houses.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of hot countries where it's hot most of the year round, it's standard.
Yeah, I'll need it.
Yeah.
Cars these days as well, you need it for them fucking... Especially you've got leather seats, that's sticking to your arse.
Yeah. I think mine needs recharging, the aircon. I was talking to Biff about it earlier. He was... I was saying, do you need to recharge your aircon? He said, yeah, it's an old car, it's a shitter, so it's not kicking out enough cool air. So that's going to have to be looked at eventually, but... We've digressed already early on. People tune in for a gaming podcast and they've got that. They've switched off. If you have stuck with us, you've actually got, I would say, quite a packed show. We've got impressions of Marvel Avengers, the beta. Adkins has been playing that all the weekend. We're going to have a quick look back at the Sony State of Play that was last Thursday.
A lengthy one. The longest one since the Resident Evil 3 announcement trailer, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah, because a lot of it, if it wasn't because all the others were like games, there was like a Last of Us 2 one, wasn't there? And then there was a Tsushima one. So
true.
Yeah, this is the lengthiest one since December, I think that was.
Yeah. Wow, I've tried to pack a lot into this one, and then Adkins is going to give his final impressions on Ghost of Tsushima because
he's boy
clocked it. He's done it. You've been busy, haven't you?
Yeah,
so it's good to be, I guess.
Well, I haven't been busy in life. I've been busy in the virtual.
Well, we'll get into that stage when that next gen comes around the corner. You want a clean slate to operate off, or as clean a slate as possible. So I don't know
if that clean slate.
I should have been well and above ahead of that. I'm behind already on the schedule, so I'm starting to panic that things aren't going to get done. But I'm sure we'll get into that as next gen comes rapidly up through these summer months and into the autumn and the winter. But before we start the show formally, I'm going to let you guys know that if you do enjoy Idle Game Chat, first of all, spread the word. Just say, look, the world's best gaming podcast is out there. It's called Idle Game Chat. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on any podcast app. It's completely free. But if you want to take that next step, head over to patreon.com/Idle Game Chat. And you can support us financially and earn some Well, I'm not going to say they're good perks. They're pretty low effort perks from our end, but there are perks there to be had, and I think the main reason you should go there is just that sort of get the goodwill of your heart and say, oh look, we're helping these struggling boys from Essex keep themselves together. Because
kids are going hungry.
Well, yeah, as we mentioned, there's aircon companies falling apart because they're not getting much work, and that could be us. Who knows? We're painting all sorts of pictures here, but head over to patreon.com/idle game chat if you want to find out more. Oh, the monitor is going to try and turn itself off, so we're going to prevent that bloody thing. Marvel Avengers
boom
beta. So you had to pre-order this.
So I did. Yeah, I took this out on a limb. I just saw it that was up for 45, and I thought, fucking hell, in this day and age, that's a decent deal. Yeah. The last couple of games I've had to pay about 50 rubs for, so I'm like, cool. So I didn't anticipate, because I've ordered it off a base, and they're one that never put any of the DLC stuff you get. So you're sort of taking a risk if you get it or not.
Right, yeah.
So I've just thought, oh, fuck it. Well, and they're good because they're one that they don't take the money until the release that it's actually dispatched. So if I do get a load of previews and I think, oh, this is a mistake, I can always cancel it.
Yes.
So I saw that, there's the beta weekend is starting today. This weekend is PS4 pre-orders only.
Yep.
I think next week, is it the open beta, I think?
It might be. They are doing an open beta though, aren't they, for people?
Yeah, I think it's next week. There's 3 weeks of it, and then I think the Xbox one comes in as well at some point.
Yeah.
And the Master Race. But yeah, so I just said, fuck it, I'll stick a little pre-order on and just see if it comes in. And then all of a sudden, within like an hour of pre-ordering it, I got a little email saying, here's your code.
Nice.
So I thought, fuck it, so I'll give it a little whirl. Installed it, lengthy, I think it's about 35 gig beta.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
Got some guts about it then, or at least that's what they're claiming. Did you well, I know the answers, but for the sake of the audience, did you clock the beta or what was on offer there?
I did, and a very expansive one. It reminded me a lot of with the Destiny. Do you remember you played through, I think it was Destiny 2? I think you sort of played a couple of missions and then it sort of went into one of the open worlds.
Yeah.
And you got like a couple of missions you could do.
Yes.
So this is how this one works. You do 2 main story missions.
Yep.
And then you go into the hub, like your home world, which is on the ship, the helicarrier thing.
Yeah.
And you get, I think I counted, it's about 12 missions you can do.
All right, quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's a big old length. I reckon it was probably spent at least 5 hours, I reckon, doing it.
Nice.
And you've got certain difficulties you can use and stuff. But yeah, I remember thinking, cool, this is quite a meaty one.
Bloody hell.
And and then you get rewards for completing it that do then carry on into the main game.
I was going to ask you about that. Does anything carry over? Will your progress carry over, or we have to redo these missions, or is it just some rewards that you've got from...
Email just literally before we started. There's my code. I fucking lost it. Oh no, here we go. What have I got? Congratulations, you've completed the 3 harm challenges. I'll explain that in a bit.
Yeah.
You've earned a Hulk Smasher pickaxe with a Hulk. Oh, and I've got a Hulk Buster style in Fortnite as well. Yeah, there's some like Fortnite link.
No.
Because of Avengers, so you get like...
Oh yeah, of course, they had Thanos in there, didn't they?
That's it, yeah, and Captain America, I think, is a skin as well.
Beautiful.
So yeah, some links. So no, it doesn't. I don't think your progress carries over because
they might be
the
changing
demos.
They might be changing the structure or the order of things. You never know.
Yeah,
for the main game.
And I think in the demo sort of kicks forward a bit into the story. So yeah, I think that's fuck everything up. But certainly, yeah, you get a lot of perks, and I think because there's like a marketplace that you can buy skins and little toot from, and I think that carries over.
Yeah.
So a bit like Destiny. Like you're going to hear that a lot. It's a very Destiny. I'd say it's a Destiny mixed up with Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It feels like that, but AAA aspect.
Interesting. Did you? Because you mentioned Destiny there, and one of the things I'd seen in the build-up is that you've got kind of like story missions or solo missions that you do that progress story, but there's also areas where you can team up with people. Yeah. Did you partake in any teaming up with randoms, or was you purely a lone wolf steaming through?
I've still got time. I was going to try that out, but no, I didn't. I just thought...
Well, I guess the important thing is you can do it solo then if you don't want to interact with anyone else.
Yeah, no, it just does 4. It's a team member of 4.
Yeah.
And then you get 3 other AI things. But the only thing.
So they're filled up. So there's always.
Yeah, it's always 4. So it's either AI or human companions, whoever you like. But I've got to say, they seem to be pretty good. They never sort of got in the way and sort of did help out, and I weren't constantly having to revive them or anything. No. The only thing that annoyed me is you level up whilst you're like fighting and stuff, but they don't level up unless you play them. So like if you're trying to level up all your characters to stay a similar skill, then you've got to go back and replay the mission as them, which was a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I suppose that will be the same if you had human companions, because I would be 4, for example, and you would be whoever. So that's something to keep in mind for people, that you kind of, depending on how you want to play it, if you want to commit, if there's 4 of you committing to this and you're all picking one character, you could in theory just play with that one character, go back and do the other stuff with the other characters.
I don't think you can have the same 2 of the same characters in the party.
Yeah, I would imagine they've made it that way.
Because there is still like a story element in there.
Yeah. Chatting away and all sorts. Now that's interesting. At least the option is there for people that either haven't got a fire party. I'm assuming there'll be public matchmaking and obviously parties and all that stuff. Cool. So it'd be good. Also, it's good that if there was just us 2, we could still play just us 2 and have 2 AI with us, for example.
Yeah.
It doesn't just force you into having 4 or nothing, which was the main sickener on GTA Online for those heists early doors.
You could do that on Destiny though, couldn't you? You could just have like 2 doing like them strike missions.
You could, but what I found is that they were quite heavily engineered towards like a full fire team. Right. So it was really hard, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think it done a good job or even any balancing for less players. But it was possible. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't impossible. People like the Sir Daves of the world could probably solo it, and he's probably listening to this laughing at us, going, "Well, you've got no idea what you're talking about, boys."
To see what he thinks of this, as it is very Destiny-like, and he seems, I think he plays a lot of like Lego Avengers games and stuff, so I'm assuming he's a fan of the superheroes.
Yeah, you imagine so.
He might like it. But yeah, like I say, I definitely got some Destiny feels. It certainly seems like that, the way it's going. It's sort of like because it starts off when you go through that, is what we watched.
That demo on the bridge.
On the bridge. And that gives you a nice sort of, you go through each character and you get a feel for each of them. And then after that, it goes through to another story mission, which is later on. And that brings in the woman. I don't really know much about her. Kamal Khan, I think her name was.
Okay.
Miss Marvel, I think is her character name.
Yeah.
Think. I'm not sure.
Is that brand new for this game, or is that an old comic as well?
No, I think she's an old comic, but she's very unknown. I was surprised they used her, but it's quite cool because it's like relevant to the story that she's like supposed to be like an Avengers fan, and it gets tangled up in that like the event, that A-Day or whatever, and then there gets the superhero powers and then goes from there. So yeah, it moves a little bit forward, and that's the thing. And then, like I say, when you get into the home, the helicraft or whatever it's fucking called. It's called the Chimera.
Right, there we go. We get in the Chimera. What's that place called in Destiny? The Tower.
Tower.
Get us back to the Tower. It'll be the
Tower, and that's it. Then you go to, and then you have like this little computer that you use, and you can pick where to go, and that's where the 12 missions came up. And then those 12 missions were very Destiny-like. They were very like short little missions that you could go off on. They're not open world, but like sort of semi-open world. You had the main objective, or you could go off and do these little side activities, which is like get into a room to open a chest of loot.
Right,
like have a little boss fight with some harder enemies and stuff. And yeah, they typically end with a boss or a lot of very Destiny style missions, like clear these 5 waypoints and that sort of thing. So yeah, it felt very Destiny like, but yeah, they're pretty good.
Nice. And is there actually an open world to explore without being tangled into a mission? You know how you could do it going towards like free play on Destiny and Destiny 2, and then you could pick up I don't know what they're called now. Those little contracts that you could pick up.
Yeah.
Anyway, you could sort of activate missions as you're out in the world with your fire team. Is that an option here, or is it only?
It's not in the beta, but it does look like it could be a possibility.
Gotcha.
Because where you're based, it looked like out the windows you could get off and explore around the helipad.
Yeah.
Like the Chimera, and but you didn't have access to that, so it might be. And I swear I've seen some of the videos certainly look a bit more open, but no, this was strictly just these 12 missions that you could do. And then, like I say, the worlds that you go into are sort of semi-open, but there certainly is an open world like.
There's an A to Z finish to it, and it'll put you back in the Chimera after you finish, and you get all your loot, I'm assuming. So you've got those 12 missions. Any other activities for you to partake in, or is it? And are these 12 missions always the 4-player? If you want to do solo, or if you want to do co-op.
So about 3? So I'm taking. Right, so there's about 8 or 9 of those sort of missions. I think they're even called strike missions. A few of them.
Throwaway missions.
Yeah, throwaway, little short bastards. So you got a few of them from different regions and different ones. Then there was one called an iconic mission that was like a character specific. So it was like a Hulk one, so you could only use Hulk, and it was tailored to his story.
I'm assuming that'd be single player only. Those ones.
Yes, that'd be single player, but or maybe not. No. Or maybe no. I think maybe I did only have one more character with me that time, and then the others were 4. So I had them. And then there's this thing that's called the harm rooms, which are sort of like horde mode. Yeah, it says what it stands for, but I'm not sure. But it's basically like the VR missions in Metal Gear Solid. That sort of thing. So it's like a virtual reality type thing, but it's then you've got like 10 waves of enemies that get harder and harder and harder, and I think that's where you get like some good loot and stuff.
Is that 4-character jobby, or was that a single?
That was a 4. Yeah, you can do that up to 4.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty good, and they're relatively. Like, I was only playing on normal. It's relatively quite easy.
Yeah.
But again, like Destiny, you have that bit where you remember like the respawns were restricted.
Yes.
So you had them, and you're like,
pain in.
Yeah. But yeah, it's relatively easy. I think it's more the technical side of the game that was more the struggle.
Right. Okay.
But I was trying to explain to what it was like. The closest thing I'd say it's to is probably the Arkham games.
Yes.
It's that sort of early Assassin's Creed type Batman, that free flow combat type thing.
Yeah.
You've got like light attacks and heavy attacks. And then you have like special moves that you can do, but you can sort of melee and parry and stuff by dodging, a bit like what you could do on those games. So it's a bit like that. It feels all right for the most of them, but I would say that this game overall does feel very cumbersome.
And is that the case for all the different characters? Because obviously they have like, Iron Man can roar around, Thor can do a little bit of flying, Hulk's not going to be fly. I don't think Hulk can fly. Maybe he can, I don't know. But do you know what I mean? Like, because they've got quite different ways they traverse. Does that play into it?
Yeah, a lot of them did feel janky. I was surprised at the variety in characters. Like, each character does feel different, and I'm glad it wasn't just it's the same sort of move.
Are they more like classes almost then?
Yeah, because I think they are, because obviously Hulk is very much a tank class, and you're getting that. Then Iron Man's very ranged, so you can sort of just fly up in the air and keep a distance and shoot his little lasers out of his hands and that.
I'll take that.
Captain America and Thor are very sort of brawler, right up in the grill.
Yeah.
Loving it. You can use these James Milner, whatever it's called. His hammer,
big hammer.
And it's their take on the God of War, like the Leviathan axe. Okay. You can lob it and it sort of sticks to them, and then you can lob it back, but it wasn't as clean. And the only thing that annoyed me is you can throw it at someone, it will hit them, and then I used to love it in God of War where you could like pull it back and it will hit someone on the way back.
Yes.
I don't think it does that in this. Well, I certainly haven't been able to pull that off yet.
It's high skill ceiling, I think.
Skills. But one thing that does have is there's a lot of slow motion in there to give it that cinematic feel.
Right.
And you can do sort of like combos between the characters. So if you build up like there's like a meter that you build up, and you get the enemy down to health, like a little sliver, then you press like triangle and circle together, and it'll do like a little sort of a finisher. But sometimes, you combo and you sort of do this little ultimate move.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So which characters could you play as in this beta? You've got obviously Old Key Boy and
yeah, you go through that demo and you're playing. You have a little play of all of them.
Yep.
Then you go through and play as this new Kamala Khan or whatever her name is, and Hulk, who it's really weird. You go through that bit, and it's because Troy Baker's Hulk.
Yes.
And you're walking through this forest, so it's Troy Baker with this little girl, and it just feels like Last of Us because his voice. It's really weird. He even calls her kiddo at one point, and I was like, right, what's he doing here? And then when the rooms like them 12 missions open up, and there's a bit more, you can only use those 2 at first. I think you then have to go off and do a mission, and then it unlocks, so you can be Hulk, Miss Marvel, Black Widow, and Iron Man.
Has Black Widow actually got a power, or is she just good at guns and shit?
No, she seems to. Yeah, I think she's just. Yeah,
that's just a general Marvel question. I don't.
Yeah, she's not. I think she's a bit of a Hawkeye, where she's not has any superhero powers. They're just.
He's gonna be the first one added, isn't he? Post launch.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Bald. He looked bald, didn't he?
Yeah, chopped his ear off. I think because there's an in-game collectible of comic books. So they go through the characters and they sort of take their inspiration from previous comic books.
Yes.
Which is annoying me. Looking into that Spider-Man, they're not going to. Well, I'm pretty sure they're not going to be using the PS4 Spider-Man, which is a missed opportunity.
Chucked it in the bin and caused that uproar and then thrown it away.
Yeah.
Caused all that. Who's your favourite character to play as, do you think?
So I quite like Hulk because he literally does just smash. He's quite good, but and probably that girl, that Kamala Khan.
Yes.
Miss Marvel, she's got like stretchy arms and stretchy legs, so her combos are pretty good. But the annoying thing this is what annoyed me about it was the leveling up system was that because I was playing as that girl at first, like that's what you have to do.
Yes.
So she was like really high powered, and then all the other shitters are like level 6, so I couldn't really use them.
How do you level them up then? Would you just be doing those missions basically, or going to those harm rooms?
And it works, it's because you have the gear, don't you? So
yes.
It works like Destiny. You have, I think it's called like a power level.
Right.
So like throughout the game, you like smash these boxes and you get these resources that you can then level up your gear.
Right, I see.
And then that increases your power level and you can boost it and things like that. So it seemed pretty cool, and like each bit of armor had like different perks and stuff. Like you got like gamma support or something. It would like increase with Hulk and that.
Yeah.
The only annoying thing that I found is like nothing's visible. There's no, so it's all just.
I see.
So it's just like standard. I don't know if there's a game that does that. I'm trying to think.
I'm just playing. Assuming you're saying what I think you're saying, I'm just playing both playing Ghost of Tsushima. Have done. When you update some of the armor on that, it visibly gets beefier.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
You get new bits of it. Like if you get to the top level, you get like a cool, like shoulder pad or something that will come with it in a new helmet.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, well, there's nothing on there. Like as far as I can see, and it sort of comes up with these like Iron Man. You get like his gauntlets and his chest thing, but there's no visual difference, which I think is a missed opportunity.
So is all that basically you have to buy costumes for that sort of stuff to change the appearance?
So you have like I think it's about 10 costumes that you can use, and then there's a marketplace for them. You can either
is it open already?
I think it is, yeah. So I can smell some transactions coming out. I don't know if you can buy these little currency, so I would imagine so, but yeah, so that's already open and you can buy different costumes and unlock it. And then there's another thing as well. I think it's called like a star card, which seemed a bit like the battle pass, like you're getting like Fortnite and all that, Rocket League, where you go up and then you unlock little things.
Season,
it's there for people as long as it's not like I'm thinking, right, how can I not get that unless I pay real money?
If you want the exclusive Insomniac Spider-Man costume, you need the Season 4 Battle Pass and have to have maxed it out.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's 60 hours of grinding, Insomniac said.
That's going to be the real stinker.
I'll do it.
But yeah, I'll fucking do it. But yeah, it's one of these games I think I can see myself spending a lot of hours in this. Like I've done about 5 or 6 this weekend just on this beta. And it's one of those games where you just grind. It's not doesn't feel as grindy at first because you're still sort of leveling up and that. It was always the end game in Destiny, wasn't it? That fucking like, sure.
They give you so what I find is sometimes in these games, and even in like Assassin's Creed, where there's like a heavy emphasis on gear and weapons to get off thing, and they just chuck shit at you. Like you just get stuff constantly and constantly. You're like, and you end a mission, then you've got 4 things. You're like, well, I can only apply one of them, and I'm obviously going to apply the highest level one. But is it like that here, or do they kind of balance out where and when you get your gear and your upgrades?
It seemed very sparse, to be honest. It was really rare that you did actually get something that was better than what you already had. Like I said, because you could boost your armor a lot. So I was constantly just boosting the same one, but that does have like a maximum boost. So you could only say it's like a 10, you'll get it up to a 13. Sure. Well, it would take about 3 missions to get one that's about a level 14 or whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, so it didn't get sort of multiple ones at the end, and it seemed that you had to explore for it rather than sort of just let it come naturally for like rewards of missions.
Right. Okay.
So it did sort of reward you for exploring, which was pretty good. But yeah, it really did get out my cunt, that the visual thing. I was like, well, they could really make that cool, especially with like superheroes and stuff. Like you could make your own costumes or whatnot. But
yeah, it'd be cool. Like you said, just like a visible, like say if you got like a plate in to put on, and then if you added like a new power level to it, even if it was like gated, like so every 5 levels it adds like a I don't know, like a gold plate, then it goes to platinum or whatever. I don't know, something along those lines to give you something.
It's weird for them to have gone down this Destiny route and not to have, because I mean that's all Destiny is, isn't it? It's sort of visual differences. I know people sort of say like, oh, you get a new bit of gear and then you don't like what it looks like, you like a previous thing, but it's higher level, so you want to keep it.
Yeah.
But even they sorted that out where you could then sort of you could like transfer its perks over to new things.
Use shards and stuff, couldn't you, and like bring it back up. Yeah.
So hopefully, as this is going to be a bit of a games as a service type, they might introduce that. I hope so.
Yeah.
But certainly wasn't present in here, which was to my noticed. I'm just making a list. I have a little tiny list of pros and cons of this beta that I use for this.
Excellent.
So
is there any what was I going to ask you about the gear score? Is there any? Do you get any specific like gear type boosts? Like, so if you apply gear Y, it gives you an attack boost, whereas gear X gives you a defense boost. Is that?
Yeah. So I think it did, because you had like I can't remember the exact amount. So you had your big overall power level, which was it light level in Destiny?
Yeah.
Was when it
it changed to power after. It was originally light.
Right. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it might even be. I ain't even fucking played it for so long. I had a dream last week, I think it was, that I was playing Destiny with Dave.
How was Dave? I haven't spoken to him in weeks. Is he all right?
I spoke to him for about, since we did that last raid, I think. But it was just really random. I was just playing. I think I was playing PC with him as well. But anyway, I digress. So you have your power level, and then I think there was about 6 or 7 different subsections. So you had like melee damage, power damage, range damage, ultimate damage, or something like that. So and I think each part did boost each. It had like a percentage, and each one then lent towards that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the majority of it was these like perks where it gave you like each character has like their own sort of almost like element essentially. So like I say, Hulk has this gamma thing. So if he's got these armor that has this perk on, like every time you hit something, it would then add gamma damage to that, and they bright up green, and you can sort of
like elemental damage.
That's it. Yeah. Then you sort of get that with each character as well. So you can like when you do these little moves that swap to each other, you can be like fucking 4 running around with lighting up green and smashing things, saying "Alt mash."
Are there any skills that you can unlock for characters, like moves?
Yes. Yeah, so there's a skill tree, and that gives you more moves.
What do you use to unlock those?
It was just little skill points.
Okay.
So it was just every now and again. They were very far and few between, I think, throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Probably only unlocked about 3 or 4 per character, if that. And it was just like different moves you could do, so combos and your range. Like every character has a range attack as well. It was quite cool with the Hulk. You could rip out rocks out of the ground and luzz them at people. So little things like that. That was pretty much the only upgrades, I think. Yeah, the rest was all sort of collectibles.
Interesting. Well, you got anything else on your list that we haven't spoken about?
Let's have a look. So on my pros, let's start with the pros. It's a huge beta. The graphics, I've got to say, were very good. That first demo, even though it feels like this is what it's going to be. It's going to be this main campaign, which is going through the story, is going to feel like what everyone wanted. This sort of AAA single player Avengers game,
right?
And it was very Naughty Dog. It reminded me of this big, huge set pieces, like that bit when you're going across the bridge and everything's crumbling down around you. Very Square Enix, I think it was in like Shadow of Tomb Raider, that level when that sort of cinematic feel.
Nice.
And it's very good. Like the characters, even though the characters look like sort of B-class movies, the trouble is, it's like because we've had those films, that's their image now, and it burnt in. So if anyone else tries to do it, cool,
people get fuming.
But yeah, I've got to say, graphically, the game was very impressive. Fun set pieces, as I've explained. Then got onto 4K versus performance mode, so you've got the option there.
Yep.
The frame rate was absolutely fucking diabolical.
So when you said technical struggles earlier, that's the
this is one of the biggest things that's going to do it. Like I reckon it was knocking down into 15 FPS. I reckon.
Jesus Christ.
It's a very good looking game. There's particles, there's fire effects, fucking God knows you chucking people around the environment. It's unbelievable. One of my little things is just the word destruction I've written down here, because pretty much you go into a room and you can smash the shit out of anything, especially as Hulk, which is quite fun.
Yeah.
Literally break anything that's in the room, and when you're doing that though, that's still got this little physics of that fly across the room. And yeah, when it really kicks off and there's quite a lot of enemies in the room, you're like, cool.
Yeah.
And it does.
Chug.
Yes, it really is a chug, and I've got to get that sorted. PS4 as well. The reason I got this on PS4 is because of the Spider-Man exclusive.
So it's worked.
So it has worked. As much as I disagree they should do it, I don't think that's right. Like, I've still gone, well, I would boycott you, but I'm going to go with it as you do. But I am also regretting my decision, because this is by far the worst game that's ever made my PS4 go.
That's mad.
Tsushima was bad, and Last of Us was bad, but it wasn't constant. This is from when you turn the beta on, it literally fucking revs up in the menu. So the second you turn it off, it is full blast. And like I say, when it was 32 degrees on Friday and I had that going, I was like, for fuck's sake. So this is pushing. They've got to optimise this a bit better. But they're probably thinking feet up. They probably think, people are only going to play this for fucking 3 months, and then they've got a brand new console to play it on. So I can't see that. But I've got to say, it's the worst. It just sounds like a fucking leaf blower. It's so bad. But yeah, it's nice to see that they have got the option there. If you do want to go into performance, I'll be interested to see if they do a 120 mode.
Right,
on the PS4 5. Yeah, frame rate I think it was a bit like Tomb Raider, where it's not quite solid 60, so you'd probably get your 40s, your 50s.
Yeah.
But certainly did feel higher than the what's it called, so I'd advise to try and use that, although it does look sexy on 4K.
Yeah, but it's just taking too many dumps, it sounds like.
Exactly, that's the thing.
Because usually you'll take the 4K or whatever checkable they've done, because at least it's solid.
That's it, exactly. Something like God of War or Uncharted, where it's like 30 FPS, you're like, right, this is a cinematic experience. It doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
And again, with this is that same thing, but it's just so, like, in a free-flowing combat where it's sort of fast-paced, you want that sort of solidness. And, when you're getting 15, like I say, 15 in some places, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
So fucking up your game, Square. And then so I got Destruction. Then lastly, photo mode, which I'm always a big fan of.
Surely pales in comparison to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ghost of Tsushima is possibly the best one
I've ever used. Isn't it?
That is absolutely the go. This does the box standard one, but nice to see that they've popped that in there because like I say, it is a very good looking game, and you can get some nice little things on there. Then on the bad side, I've got PS4 Pro Jet Engine, poor motion blur, which I have a huge gripe with, which cannot be turned off at all. livid. So yeah, be careful for that motion blur the second you turn around.
Yep.
Terrible frame rate, no visual loot, and cumbersome traversal. Yeah, the traversal, you climb like you
because you're playing as Hulk. He's a big fuck.
Yeah, that is true, but it felt like that with all of them.
Right.
It's all this sort of staggered. It's just, it might be the animations. I think everything feels janky and not as smooth as it should be.
Yeah,
it's just there's something not quite right there. But
you're used to Jin just being the absolute free-flowing samurai.
Yeah, it probably might even be down to the frame rate where it just doesn't feel as smooth and
you're missing windows or whatever, and it's just
exactly
you're not as connected, are you, when it's all over the place like that?
Ah, that's right. So it just needs polish. Like I say, if it had the time to brew, it could be spot on, but it's trouble because people, I think the majority of people that I have don't have high hopes for this. So as much as I sort of went into this with low expectations because of what I've seen, it did catch me by surprise how much I actually enjoyed playing it, and I'd be quite interested to hear you and Biff play it because you're both quite downbeat on it at the minute, but actually playing it and enjoyment, I think you might be a bit surprised. You might get that Destiny hook.
I hope not. Hundreds of hours toiled away if you're not careful.
Well, that's the trouble. But yeah, then it could be the Destiny syndrome kicking in where you defend it with your life.
You're committed to it and it's got those hooks in. You think, I have to defend it. It's the greatest game ever.
Again.
Yeah. Well, again, it's in that sort of realm of these looter-based... I mean, this isn't a shooter, obviously, but, kind of it's aiming for that type of market to have people replay and come back and unlock and increase their skill levels. So,
so overall, then, I think they're a bit like Anthem. There's potential here.
Right.
It seems like they've got a bit for everyone. If you just want to stick to them story missions and just play through the campaign, and you're not interested.
Is there like a level to lock? Are you locked at a level to play those story missions, or is it?
Yes,
you need to be like level 10.
Yeah, there was one that was like a level 20, I think the last one. So you had to, by the time I did get to it. But then I only had one character that could do it.
Yes.
But although you can, I did play as a mission where I was underpowered, and you can get through it, but you do just get put down a lot more, which is as fun. But then you have got, say, you've got your level 20 character on there, that's based on the AI. Yes. They do help out, but it just makes it a lot harder. But yeah, for the most part, it's a lot of the missions I found scaled to my level.
Gotcha.
If you were overpowered by them. But then, there was a few missions that were run. But yeah, the main missions didn't. I'm not sure if that worked because they weren't on the war table. I think it is like the main hub that you go to get the missions. Didn't have you couldn't replay the story missions once you played them two. That's it. They're gone.
In the bin.
In the bin. So yeah. I'm not sure if that will carry on. So I wonder if someone like Biff who thinks, oh, fuck it, I can't be asked to play all this other toot. Just give me the story and I'll leave it there. Yeah. Where I'm not interested. So it looks like there might be a variety, but yeah, decent beta. It just the technical things, the side of it is what's the worry for me.
Cool, I've chucked that, unfortunately. Bear with me one moment.
But if that's their decision they're going to do, I suppose their emphasis is going to be on these costumes.
Yes.
I don't know what they're going to do with them. Either you, have to get this currency to get them in-game way.
Some as well. Yeah, it's good. I think
through the mission. So rather than having different all little bits of armor points.
Doing it that way instead. What one thing they done like a little presentation a few weeks ago to like prep people for the beta. The one thing I took away from it was that that's the structure, blah blah blah. But also, it felt, I don't know if this is right or wrong. The enemies seemed a little bit uninspired to me.
Yeah,
are they just robots or like?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's that story that this event happens and the Avengers are down in the dumps and this company come over. AIM, I think they're called. They are something that's based in there, and it's like this cybernetic company, and pretty much everything was a robot. You had a few soldiers there, but then you got soldiers in robot armor, and the enemies, it did become monotonous, like a lot of it. It's just like you have different power things. Then there was like people in mechs and stuff. There was one great big boss that you had to fight. But yeah, I probably agree with you there that it's not like you're fighting different. Because if you were going through each character's like, I don't know. Like if you're playing Black Widow, you'd be fighting a load of Russians.
Yeah. But do the regions offer anything, like the different regions where you play? Does that offer a good variety, or is it a little bit like
exactly the same enemies?
Yeah.
It's different environments, really.
They look much different. The environments look.
They did look
quite significantly different, or
there was one that was like a forest that was on fire, and then there was one that was in a city, one that was like a jungle. Like I say, that's where you're walking through, and it's very Last of Us. And there's a lot but for the majority of it, you were in this sort of aim base, and it was very much the same. It looks very nice, but the enemy types, unless there's more in the game, it's very uninspiring and just typical robots, and with different sort of classes of them. You had, the bastards with shields that you have to wear down, and your brutes, your big fucks, your little fodder
ads.
But that's it. But with Destiny, I suppose you had different, wherever you went, you had different classes, didn't you? Like if you went on that moon, you had them little scragglers, I think you used to call them.
Yeah, they were scragglers.
The bomb. I think I'll make you right on that, to be fair.
Interesting. So,
what other concerns do you have?
I didn't even know. No, I think a lot of what you've said is kind of what I was expecting. I do want to just get my hands on it, really. So
I do think that would be the best. Like I got to say, I was just surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It might be because I ain't fucking touched these type of games for over a year.
There's a place for them now and again, and I certainly would like to cycle one or two of them in, every so often. And this obviously has the appeal that it's Avengers, and I'm not really a big Avengers fan, to be fair, but I know that there's. I'm aware of what the world is and how it all works to a certain extent.
And it sort of added to, whereas before in Destiny you had like the strike missions, then they would just throw away little mission. These sort of do have small like tidbits of story elements.
Dave will go mad when you say that. He'll be like, they all had backstory on those Grimoire cards.
Yeah, I suppose they probably are. Yeah, that's true. They could tell me what happened, but I'll save that for another time.
Save that for the sequel.
But so that has a little kind of element to it. An amazing feature, which I don't know if it does it in Destiny now, but I've heard a few people saying is incredible, is you can alter your, like when you're going through the mission, and it's, in Destiny when it's doing the little spaceships and the fucking loading screen.
Yeah.
Well, in this you can alter your gear and stuff. You can change what you want to do, and change your look, change your gear, and add new perks or whatever you want to do, and your skill points in the menu. Okay. So while you sit there in the loading screen, so while the mission's there, you can, rather than sit there and look at your ship flying about. It was
give you that.
But I don't know if that might be in Destiny now. I ain't played it for so long.
So the all important question is, you've got it on pre-order from base. You was planning to pull the wool over their eyes, just play the beta and walk away from it.
I think I will keep it. I think I probably would have got it on Xbox just for performance things. I'd be interested to see
if there's a difference.
See how much of a difference there is. It's annoying that this weekend is only PlayStation, I think, because they've got this exclusivity deal. They've just announced some more like perks that PlayStation are getting as well, like only like shitty in-game stuff, but again enough to get on the rat of people. They've come out and said they won't be doing any more exclusivity deals. So because people are saying like, Xbox should get someone like Wolverine or someone. That would be annoying, because I'd want him as well. I'd be like, fucking hell, I ain't buying it on two consoles.
Yeah, that would be a sickener. I wonder if it just ends cross-play as well. Because can you imagine if you're Xbox and you're like, I'll come play with you. It's like, well, hang on, what's Spider-Man doing running around? You're like, wow, PlayStation, mate. Really rub their nose in it, rather.
Because this is like that, and it's becoming the new norm. You've got games like fucking COD doing it. All the big boys. So you'd hope it's the new norm, but with these exclusivity deals, I'm not sure if they can.
Yeah,
but I'd like to see what these performances, and that's the concern.
Yes.
I think a lot of the issues I have with it could be ironed out, but
the beat is there for a reason. You think that they're going to see that feedback, that the performance isn't quite there on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, so there's something for them to look at, and at least they've got a few weekends to get some data in, as people would say, and make good on that and try and get it out to a because it will get shit on if it runs like garbage.
Yeah, it's the thing.
It's a real. It's just a banana skin it feels like it's avoidable in many games, and if you don't get it right, it can really damage the reputation of it out of the gate. And then even if you do improve it later on down the line, people are like, well, you had your chance, you've missed it now.
No, but 1, 2, 3. It's 4 weeks away till it's released.
Yeah, it's not far away at all, is it?
Blimey. So yeah, they've got to pull fingers out of arses
for September. So
but yeah, it'd be interesting to see that and see the length. But yeah, it's definitely one of those games I do think have a go and see what you feel. Make assumptions from there, but could very well find itself in the bargain bin within by Christmas Day.
Yeah, we will see, because it will get swept up with games and the next gen hype in the coming months afterwards. And then we've also got August 22nd, Suicide Squad are doing their big reveal, Rocksteady, and the rumour has it that could be one of these type jobbies.
Really?
So it'll be interesting to see how if they show enough for us to understand how the game functions and then how it stacks up, because then we've got a real DC v Marvel, and we've written off the films. Marvel have stomped them, but in the gaming world, you'd argue that we've had the Arkham series, which have been excellent series from Rocksteady.
Fighting games were pretty damn
good. Yeah, they were pretty good, but certainly better than Marvel versus Capcom. But we have just had Spider-Man out of Insomniac. And it's a tough one, so this will be that'll be interesting to see how Suicide Squad is shaping up as well.
Yeah, interesting take, because there was rumours of a Superman game.
Yes.
So if they do a Suicide Squad where you're playing as the baddies hunting down,
killing those
Justice League and killing those fucks, that'll be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's some like DC fandom thing they're going to announce, show it off, aren't they?
We will, yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, because Rocksteady have been quiet for years.
5 years, I think.
I think it is. Yeah, it's like
that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, what a weird way to announce this game after 5 years. Then they did that weird Batman
VR.
That fucking little reveal thing where it was like, I can't remember, it was a Court of Owls or something. It's like a little symbol that came up, and everyone's like, "Oh, here we go."
Nothing.
They've just been quiet. Like every time there's a big state of play or something, everyone's like, right, come on, new Batman game, or what Rocksteady doing? And then just to chuck out a tweet in the middle of the week to go, yep, new game coming.
Have a little look, August 22nd. Deary me. Right, Sony State of Play.
Here we go.
Now, a lot of people, if you hear that there's a State of Play going on or some sort of showcase, they're shocked that this isn't the leading subject. But this was very much a B tier State of Play.
I've never seen someone trying to get people hyped for something but having to lower expectations so much.
I know. I've got the tweet here. So, I mean, I'm fine with things being B tier because not everything can be a home run. Like, it's not. I have different expectations for what an E3 showcase is versus a State of Play, certainly. And what makes it fine is that, like you said, Sony themselves tweeted this out on August the 3rd. State of Play returns Thursday at 9 p.m. BST. What to expect? A focus on upcoming PS4 and PSVR games. A few quick check-ins on third-party and indie games from June's PS5 showcase. No big PS5 announcements. So immediately my expectations are in check. And it's a really simple thing to do. It probably took them, I don't know, not long. It took me 20 seconds to read that, and already they've quelled my hype, which is the opposite thing you want to do. But then at the same time, as we know, Adkins, hype can make or break things. So it's important not to let the internet run away with speculation. No. I mean, didn't you send over a list of leaks that you had been going around the Reddits, and it had that Silent Hill on there and all this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know where. It's obviously was fake, or if it's maybe this due later. But this came out like a day after I told you that to you. So I was like, "Fucking hell, this is going to be it." And then reading now, I was like, "Oh, clearly not."
Clearly not.
Like you say, to be fair, it takes a couple of seconds to read, and it does set you that standard. Yeah. And I think Xbox could have done with this when they've done that fucking gameplay one, when they're like,
that first one.
Like, look. We're calling it a gameplay thing, but you've not got actual gameplay. This is just going to be like CGI trailers and a few snippets of gameplay, then I think people wouldn't have been so negative on that.
Wouldn't have done.
They would have known what they were getting into.
But yeah, the communication side of things definitely important. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just letting off the hook. I don't know what you think, but I think that just simple tweet was
just that. Yeah, I think that, like I say, it just put your expectations in check. We knew exactly what we were getting them for, and then I think it almost. Well,
especially like in new console season where speculation and we're still waiting for the price and release, like that can easily dominate the pre-show hype for people talking about what they're going to see, and they've already decided that they're going to get a PlayStation 5 price and release date. Like just something like that is like, no, it's this.
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people were annoyed by this because they're like, we're so eagerly waiting now, just those final details, and they're like, let's have a little look at the PS4. So what we got left on here. And that was like,
120 million customers to serve still.
yeah, I suppose from their side, they've still got to do a service. Yeah. So it's a nice little breakup. But I love that. If that was true, all them shit on that leak. Probably fake though. It's gonna.
We'll see, won't we? Maybe it'll be in the next one, because I think Sony and Microsoft have got another one planned later this month. They're really eking these out, but keeps things interesting for us, I guess, to keep speculating, having things to talk about. I mean, they showed off quite a few different games from various platforms. The one thing that stuck out for me, because we're not going to go through it all blow by blow, is Control DLC, which appears to be linking. Alan Wake is sort of focused on that area of things, which is obviously Remedy's much loved game that we kind of never got much more of other than the spin-off and the DLC. So that was interesting to see. I've got Control. I'll be looking forward to playing that. Bit of a blow. I was talking about these Sony exclusives. That's one of them. So that's timed. And
didn't they do an Xbox timed one as well?
Not for Control.
Not for Control.
No, in fact, the first DLC they released, I had to wait 3 months for it. I still ain't played it, because that's the trouble with it. It was all out of the hype cycle then. But I'll definitely... What I'm waiting for is once all the DLC's ready on the Xbox, I will get it in one go, I think. So that interested me. Hitman's franchise is going to go VR, or you can play the first two on VR and the third one on PlayStation VR. I mean, I couldn't think of a worse way to play those games.
I was going to say, it looked quite fun, like graphically and that, but when it comes to getting your fucking choking thing out, it's going to be like just seeing the back of people's heads going.
Yeah, exactly. Braid Anniversary Edition. I quite like the look of that, actually, because I missed that first time round, and they're scrubbing that up, redoing bits and pieces, and
a few little indie numbers in there that looked
tons, Spelunky 2 got a release date.
Spelunky 2.
But the one that really
Crash as well, didn't it?
Crash. We led with Crash 4. Yeah, it's about time. So they are off the back of the trilogy.
Being able to play as some of the villains. And
that's it, Coco and that other big fuck. I can't remember his name now. That half lizard prick, whatever he is. But I mean, it looks like a solid game. It's coming this year as well.
Yeah.
But Godfall we actually found out what Godfall kind of is. And you sent out a tweet saying that you like the look of this Godfall, so I think we'll start and end there, because unless there's anything special out of the showcase you wanted to talk about other than Godfall.
No, there was not really a great deal that.
It was what it was.
Yeah, it was what it was. Yeah,
it was what they said it was.
Money after that little thing, yeah. So it set.
Godfall was a bit of me. #state of play.
State of play. It really was. I said this before. When was it revealed?
Looter slasher.
Looter slasher, yeah, that's what they were calling it. And I remember when I last looked at it, and I sort of thought, God, this does look like a poor man's God of War. I quite like this.
Yes.
And I didn't realise what it was going to be. So, and now this is going to take down this, or it looked like a bit like a class-based Destiny style. I don't know if you... Yeah. Did it have gear and stuff in it?
Yeah, there's gear. We didn't see it, but they mentioned there's gear and other bits and pieces, so you can...
Going through some of the classes, wasn't it? You had it almost reminded me a bit like, as well, not in its mission style, but its class base was reminding me a bit of like Monster Hunter, where you had different... You could have like double swords, the long sword, the big sword, that sort of style. But I've got to say, the combat, I just thought, I do love like a hack and slash game, and the combat did remind me of God of War, not the chucking the axe and bringing it back, the other part where it was a very combo and using your shield and hitting those parries and that.
That's it.
I did think it looked like the setting looked looks quite gorgeous if you watch it in a 4K.
Yeah.
To the trouble with these streams, they were always 722 or whatever.
Compressed garbage. Yeah, you had to go back and find the sort of solo release of it and then get a real good look at it. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, it's still got a lot to do to sell me on it. But I have an idea of what the game is, and I was like, you know what, that actually has some potential. Like, it's obviously designed around, I'd say, a cooperative experience with people, and it'd be interesting to see how you can combine you and your friends' characters, if there's any sort of team moves you can do. And it's going to, again, like you mentioned about some of the technical issues that Marvel had, and it made the controls feel a bit janky. With Godfall, it's going to be important that if the game feels nice to play. So I'm hoping they do a beta on that, because I'll definitely jump in with that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's got me on the beta hook. I was like, okay, if I can have a play of that beforehand, I'll have a little go just to see what we're looking at here.
This is a PS5 launch title, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the claim is.
They're claiming
PC as well, so Master Race Dave loving life.
As well. The old Borderlands fucks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
love it.
Loot the Slasher.
We'll see how that fucking pans out.
Yeah, that's one that did get me sniffing, I gotta say, seeing more of it.
Yeah. Well,
just the only thing that concerns me is that there's not going to be any story. Not that in that type of game, like Destiny story really did well for me.
Garbage.
Took a backstory, yeah.
Fucking shit.
I can't remember any of it now. Something about a Crota. Hey, we have me guards for this. He'll be saying, get them fucking Grimoire cards.
Yeah, get those Grimoire cards. And read it all. The thing annoying about Destiny was actually, if you sort of dig a little bit, like the setting of it's actually quite cool.
Yeah,
but they never
they give it to you in such dribs and drabs and made you work for the fucking story.
Yeah.
Chucking out little DLCs here and then, you're like, right. And then, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I do miss it a little bit, but it's such a commitment to go back. I always got scared of getting involved in one of them MMOs.
Yeah.
You get sucked in, and this was certainly the next best thing to a suck-in jobby when you just lose hours. But it seems like they're coming back again. I thought they were dying out after the Anthem and that, but we've almost got a second wave all coming. Anthem's supposed to be doing this 2.0 thing, aren't they?
Redesigning that from the ground up almost, not in the gameplay, but the structure and whatnot. So I mean, like you said, they are getting a bit of a second wave, I guess.
They are, aren't they? What's that? Storm. There was another game looked a little bit like that. Storm something.
Stormy Nights.
Stormy Devils. Oh, anyway, it's another one of those games, but second wave almost.
Interesting. Ghost of Tsushima.
Boom! Clock the motherfucker.
You've clocked it. You've sent me the credits. Sport it for me. Annoying. My favourite bit of a game is seeing those credits for the first time, and I've seen the screen now, so that's gone. I've been struggling to get through this, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Now, it's a meaty one. It feels like quite a meaty one.
Yeah.
I think I'm on the cusp of heading into Act 3. I believe that to be the case based on what's happening with the characters and what I've been doing. And I feel like I've put at least a couple of dozen hours into it already, sort of over 20, I'd say. And
how long to beat and see what they're...
I don't know.
The annoying thing that is there's no in-game count, so I'm just going on guesses.
I wasted a lot of time trying to clear down the first area.
And I
blew it for myself. I shouldn't have done that. That was silly. Although it's put me in good stead for like skills and technique points.
Certainly, yeah. And I think the game is tailored to you doing that. I think I don't know if you might struggle if you just literally breaknecked it.
Yeah. There's no formal gating, but like you said, it might just be a much tougher experience.
Yeah, because you have those skill points that you unlock, don't you, from getting into combat and at the technical points. But certainly this game is one that really rewards you for exploration, and they've really focused on that. So they're claiming if you breakneck the story, that's about 21 hours. But just by doing a few of the side bits, that's a 40-hour campaign.
That feels about...
I'd say that's about right. That's where it felt to me. Like I say, I've got no in-game counter.
Yeah. Well done, Sucker Punch.
Yeah. So, it's a lengthy one.
I mean, I still like it, and I look forward to progressing it. I just, for some reason... Like where I haven't been able to spend like a good 4 hours of it for the past few weeks, rather than playing an hour, I haven't.
No, and
that makes sense. Like I've had like an hour, and I think, I could just play an hour of that, and I think, But what if I forget what's going on? I just haven't done it, and I thought it's a stupid way to play it, because you can quite easily, I think, play this for an hour, even if you just do a side quest or two, or go to some of the question mark points, and do a bit of. Don't have to do like a main mission. But I've been sandbagging it myself, to be honest. But you've clocked it. How was your journey going through it? Did you ever get into any states where you didn't want to play it or didn't play it, or did you sour over time, or did it keep you hooked until the bitter end?
I think it was all I played coming off the back of Last of Us. I started Far Cry.
Oh, yes. And got stuck with a final area sort of weapon requirement, wasn't it? To go off. No
breaking the net. So they went straight to this. And I think for a good solid 2 weeks playing this. But it was just in quite small chunks, just a few hours a night here and there. But I think the repetitiveness started to seep through, and then I think I did have a week's break, and sort of just the same as you, I sort of thought, I could smash a few hours on there, but it's one of those ones that's not too hard. There's sometimes where you will get fucking done over, and you think, I'm too confident here, but for the most part, and I'd say even till the end, it's those games that it's not too challenging. Obviously, you can perk it up.
Got a new mode, haven't we? Lethal, isn't it?
Yeah, lethal mode. But there was never a point where I was struggling to and having to repeat things to get down. I think the hardest part, which is the most annoying part of the game I didn't like, was the missions that were like sneaking around.
Yeah.
Stealth missions where you had to like infiltrate a camp and not be seen or set anyone off. That was they were some of the annoying parts of the game. I really did love just going running in and fucking kicking ass.
Yeah.
And taking on as many as I could. But it did keep me engrossed the whole way through. But I think where the same as you, I was playing through the story, and then it does move on to different parts of the map as you go through to the story. But in my head, I was like, no, I want to clear down this area. I started doing that. Yeah. And then, like you say, I got to the point where I was like, for fuck's sake, this is, I'm doing the same thing. At the beginning, it's sort of, you're like, cool, look at the variety in here. I can go into the fox. I can climb this fucking shrine, have a deep bath with my bum out.
Yeah.
But then, 20, 25 hours in, you're like, I'm fucking bathing in a pick out again now, and I'm chasing this fucking fox. Get me out of here. What am I doing? I think you texted me one night and went, what am I doing with my life? I'm letting falcons go in.
There was a sudden, when there's like camps that you can clear down, like strongholds, and there's normally 2 requirements, like kill the Mongols, and then it'll be collect some ink, maybe blow something up. But then some of them randomly just started saying, release 3 falcons. I was like, okay, I will release the falcons, because I believe in treating animals and not being cruel to them, but I don't understand why this is a requirement for me to clear this area out of Mongols. I could just slaughter them.
Yeah, very peculiar it was.
I don't know. Yeah, it does fall into that. So far, I feel like it does sometimes fall into that open world trap. But I think that's just. It's really hard for any game not to.
No.
Like any game that's set in an open world that has, it's quite beefy and wants you to play through side quests and do other bits and pieces. Like, it's really, really tricky not for that to happen. One of the great things about this is just that the environment is just stunning to look at. Like, you can, I don't like the fast traveling is actually really good because it's actually fast traveling. Like, the load times on this game are insanely quick for what they are.
Aren't they?
I was like, Jesus Christ, this is really much quicker than I was anticipating. But if I've got a journey, half the time I think, I'll go for a little ride because it's just beautiful to look. And
and the shit you can run into, like say, if you haven't the map and that, you can fall into these question marks, which are a number of different side activities, or you can even just bump into random encounters with sort of Mongols that are just walking around, have got prisoners or whatever.
Yeah, you release the prisoner and they can tell you where a new side quest is or where a new fortress is. So it's worthwhile saving those people because they can mark things on your map that you can then go and do at a later date. But at that point, you're probably like the second half of the game. You're thinking, how many more of these places have I got to liberate?
That's the thing. So there is a plethora of things to do here, and as much as it does reward you for exploring, that does hinder your experience. And now I've finished it, and I'm now going for the platinum. I've done everything apart from the clear down. So I've literally just got to do everything on the map now. I've got to clear all the stories, everything, and I can see this is going to take like possibly another 10, 15 hours of just monotonous quests of going, little things and then doing all these little side activities. So this is it's really going to hinder. So I'm best getting the review out now.
Before you've had to go through that pain.
Because I've got to say, story-wise, I was so impressed by this.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting as much, and again, the poor guys at Sucker Punch having to bring their game out 2 weeks after the fucking phenomenal express of Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, at least it's a different pace. Change of pace and different type of story. We'll fucking find out it's a revenge story again.
And it's brutal. It's
an absolute brutal revenge story. So we had 2 in a fucking couple of months.
Yeah, must be passing around notes at Sony's studios saying he's get his vengeance stories out. But yeah, it's quite a brutal tale. Even like the small parts. I think I mentioned it first time we spoke about it. Like the outcomes of some of the quests, you're just like, well, that's not a happy ending.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is what I appreciate, because it's so unexpected. Like, normally you save the day just in time, but there's plenty of situations here where people don't end. You leave them on the side quest; they're not happy with life going on.
No,
I need to go in one of those self-harm rooms off of the Avengers, I reckon.
Self-harm really do yourself in. But no, I think we sort of said, didn't we? Well, at least this is a bit of a change of pace and a different, but. No, this is the Last of Us of Tsushima. But no, I've got to say the story. I know Biff's already written it off. He says it's crap. I think he might be racist against the Japanese, because he also said the same about Sekiro. So that was a shit story as well.
He did, yes.
I think he just hates the Japanese. I think he's been watching too many World War II films.
He's got a bad.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, he's not. They did in the war, of course. Yeah, that does sound like Biff. If you want to send any hate mail to him, feel free to.
Any of Japanese fans out there, at Smith Biff.
Yeah, absolutely drill the dirty bastard if he's. But no,
I've got to say, I really enjoyed the story, and I think it lent. I think the characters are pretty well done. The story itself is a simple but good story, and it's just the environment, like the setting of this game. I've always wanted. There's been rumours of an Assassin's Creed that was going to be Japan.
But the next one is.
Yeah, I bet they will, because after fucking God of War they've done the Vikings, so now they're like, right, here we go, we've got this in the bag. But yeah, no, very impressed by it, and just a stunning game in terms of visuals. I wasn't expecting. I think my anticipation after their state of play sort of dropped a bit, because it just looked like a sort of another Assassin's Creed style game. You know, to its points, it is a bit.
It's got that DNA in it, certainly.
Exactly, it's got that DNA, but. I don't know. There's just this charm about this game that you've charmed me. I don't know. It's just there's something there that is just a beautiful game, and I think the combat is so engaging and rewarding. It just feels nice just to attack. It's the best. I'm sticking with it. I think the combat feels better. Even though Sekiro, you feel better after you've killed something because of how fucking hard it is. Yeah, it's just it sounds like, it feels like they've just got like weapons experts in and gone, right, get that in our game. Yeah, because everything just feels authentic, and I've never swung a samurai sword in my life, but it's what I'd imagine, and certainly the cinematic feel that it has. Like after watching those films, and every time you have the jaw and it does the sort of
pops pops the sword
like a fucking Mexican standoff type thing. I've got to say it's pretty. It's hard to fault this game. The only thing I would say is the repetitiveness and the clear down mentality, but you don't have to. You like you say, the good thing about this game is you're not level gated. So if you do want to just breakneck it and go through, or even breakneck it, just to enjoy the story and have a bit of thing, you can. There's nothing stopping you. So it's hard to fault it. To be honest, I'm really big on it.
Excellent. Well, let's get the official, well, whatever we call it now, whether you recommend it with the thumbs up or the thumbs down. You've got 2 on either side, or you can go neutral. Ghost of Tsushima, what's it going to get from the Adkins man?
So are we doing the thumbs up one now? Are we?
Yeah, that's installed.
Cool. I don't think I've ever done this before. I don't know what's... So, okay. Well, in my head, I'll go 1 thumb up.
Oh, shit on it.
Well, in my head, like, number-wise, I was thinking of giving it a 9, but I think because of how repetitive it is, like, after doing the clear down and... in my wanting to, it seems like that's the way the game is made. Like it wants you to clear that down and do everything on the map. Because of that, I'd probably knock it down to an 8.5. So so an 8.5, would that be 1 thumb up or would it be 2?
It's entirely how you want to interpret it. Like I would never say that it has to be 10 to be 2 thumbs up.
1 thumb up. I feel like 2 thumbs up is like a Last of Us. That perfect, almost faultless game. It's
certainly not that, but you can interpret it that way. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's what I'm going to go. So I'm going to give it 1 thumbs up. A very incredible. It's almost one of these ridiculously good ones. I think it does fall short just of its of that sort of god tier AAA exclusive. But I think it's certainly the best thing that Sucker Punch have ever done. Yep. I think they've really hit the nail. I hope they're given another crack to carry on this story, this world.
Well, rumour has it, and this might mean nothing now, but originally they was working on a pirate game.
Oh, really?
And then it got packed in and they ended up doing this. Now, having heard that, I'd really like a pirate game out of them.
Good.
Like, imagine like an Assassin's Creed 4 type jobby, but Sucker Punch's take with all the naval combat.
Yeah, that
Fuck off, Jin.
Yeah, fuck off back to Japan mainland, mate. We don't want you to be on this team. That would be. But yeah, so like it just in the facial animations as well. That's another thing. Compared to, it doesn't have that Naughty Dog, and I know you can't compare everything to Naughty Dog because they are special.
Right, Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah, Santa Monica Studios. You've got Santa Monica, Rockstar, and
Insomniac.
And then Insomniac. And I think this just falls short of them. I think it is in the tier with Insomniac. I think like they're just under that god tier games. But
still really good and
really good, incredible. If people were into this sort of third person action games. Love a bit of combat and that, get involved. And I think the story is there. I think it is a good, interesting story. Just embrace that. That's the only thing I think it will turn a lot of people off is its length.
Yeah.
This type of game, if you're normally looking at a sort of 15-hour campaign, well, you're doing double that and then some.
Yeah, it is a big boy. So settle in for that. And I think most people would enjoy it. If you've enjoyed any of the Assassin's Creed games, then you're going to enjoy this. And it's got its own perks to it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of seeing it off. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, I really crack down.
I'd be surprised because I think I did that. I as I was doing so much side stuff, I was like, fuck it, I ain't touched the main story mission. I'm probably miles behind. And then I found just like 1 or 2 sessions I focused on just main story, and I sort of and I could tell towards the story. I was like, oh right, I must be getting there. So
yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is like the actual, like it feels like because I'm doing the side quests as well. It's and I'm enjoying them. That's why I'm doing. I'm not doing it for the sake of it. Like I'm on Act 2, and I feel like it's like almost like there's like 5 or 6 main missions, and that's it. It feels like it's going to be like that anyway. I don't know if I'm getting the Walpole.
Yeah,
but if you just did those in sequence, you'd be through it in a few hours. Like it wouldn't take like tens of hours. So you can.
Think so. And that's what I was saying. It feels like it leans you into wanting to do this. Certainly, whereas other games, like these open world games, it makes you do the main story, and that's the main focus. Just a few here, whereas this, I feel it opens
or it just forces you to do it because you're under leveled and you're like, right, I don't want to be doing it now. Because like some of the side missions, like the rewards you get, are like new bits of armor, which in Assassin's Creed Odyssey is nothing because you get new bits of armor like they're going out of fashion, whereas this is quite a big deal because there's only like 6 of them, I think, or 7 of them overall.
What's the other one? The Mythic is it Mythic Towers you get?
You can unlock new skills.
Different skills. So,
if you've got the side stories for like little stories, but you've also got good rewards off the back of some of those, and there's skills and other stuff. It's like, why not do this? It's interesting to do. And
interesting. I think that people would like if you were just going to main story it, that you would miss a lot of that stuff.
And it's good stuff.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I definitely think that they're veering you to go out in the open world, and just the way they've made it so pretty that you're like, cool, let me run across this field whilst the
cliff. Have a look at that sunset coming in. Oh, it's a storm. Bloody hell.
yeah.
Get the flute out.
Get the flute.
Change that.
Go get the flute.
Well,
get it.
There we go. 1 thumbs up for Ghost of Tsushima. I'll get through it shortly. I'm going to start committing to it, I think. And so if you like what you hear, go out and get that. Or maybe if you're getting a PS5, I'm sure this will be backwards compatible. Maybe it will load even faster when you do fast travel. So you'll get an excellent experience either way if you get it on PS4, PS4 Pro, or potentially in the future PS5. But I am going to call it to an end here. That's the end of this week's packed episode. All done. Fucking sweating my nuts off as well. Yeah. So I'll let you get on with let you get on with your evening, and everybody else, I'll bid you adieu and thank you very much for your time, and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.